could try to start putting that together. I don't know if Brooks reached out to you about old position.
I reached out to her before the last meeting, like the transition meeting, and sent her like a really long email that just included like all the logins to everything and pretty much what I did last year.
Okay.
So I don't think she's gotten really into anything yet, so there probably she hasn't had any questions, but I sent her a lot of like the introductory stuff already, so
okay,
just going through that.
Okay, well, I think they just finished their finals today too, so she's probably been a little busy. But I was wondering so we can host one on Zoom, but depending on how many people are on there and how long it lasts, it gets really expensive. So could you or Brooke reach out to Dean Becker and ask him if we can use one of the Blackboard Collaborate rooms instead? Because or Microsoft Teams, because we all have those licenses through U of L, so like we might as well use those, and there's no like limit on time or anything. And I think everybody can use that.
Yeah, I'll ask him. I'm guessing, at least for like if I were a 3L, I'd probably prefer it be on like Teams, just because I don't know, I would just be like weird about using Blackboard for a happy hour, but it's not in reality it doesn't matter, but I guess just on the face maybe they would think it was weird.
Yeah, and Teams I think is really easy to use. We've been using them, Dimitri's been on these for the SGA meetings for like all of U of L, and they've been, I think, really easy and straightforward. And they're not as many like connection issues, I think, with Microsoft Teams as there is with Blackboard. So that's probably a good idea. Just doing a Teams.
And then after I check with Dean Becker, is there any other like administration people I need to talk to before just like planning it and promoting it?
I don't think so. I mean, school's out. This is really just for them, because I know a lot of them. So I don't know if you all saw this, but on the SBA page, like 2 days ago, someone posted on there about wanting a virtual graduation, which is something that they like were vehemently against before.
I saw that.
So, and then there was like a little bit of a discussion about doing some sort of virtual something for them, which, I mean, we talked about anyway, so I think we should just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And I think as long as we give them a little bit of notice, any Saturday or Friday night, I think is fine. It's not like anybody's going out and has other plans.
Yeah, and it's not like it's like you have to be in it at a certain time anyways.
Right.
So I follow Chase Law on Facebook or whatever, and what they've been doing the last week, it looks like, is they're doing like student spotlights on graduating seniors on like what they liked most, their favorite memory, their favorite class, and then like what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to copy what they're doing per se, but
anybody knows it.
It's an idea. It's something for the 3Ls. If they want to send something in, then we can maybe do something like that. I don't know though. Might be a lot of work.
That's a Brooke thing for sure. I was going to say that would definitely have been something I would have had to do last year.
Yeah, I think I don't mind emailing Brooke that and asking her to do like some 3L Instagram spotlight post. Yeah. Also, I think Bethany, like in the dean's office, is doing something like that too online. So maybe Brooke can just get with Bethany.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Plus, I don't know if you all saw this, which brings me to my next point. Brent McClure is doing 3L photos. And so she got a couple of caps and gowns, and she's been like coordinating with 3Ls. I know she was taking some pictures today. So maybe that's something that we should have Brooke promote too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's not going to be a virtual graduation, Nora. So they did like a 3L vote thing, basically, like reaching out trying to see what 3Ls wanted, because the law school got to make up their own mind. Like, they got to pick whatever they wanted to do. And they decided to wait and just have a graduation in December, like a real graduation at the Brown Theater, like they normally would. And so then somebody asked about virtual graduation, because some of the undergrad people are doing virtual graduation. But the law school is not doing a virtual graduation. This is just a virtual get together for them.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why they were like
Okay.
being upset that it wasn't happening, but that's just me.
I think it
After
was
they
just-
said they didn't want it.
Yeah, I think it was maybe buyer's remorse, because I think people thought that this was going to be over sooner. And then,
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, Michael?
For December, it sounds like there is going to be a graduation in December. Keep in mind staffing and stuff for SBA, working the event and stuff. So just keep that in mind, back of your head.
Yeah. And then we'll also need to, when we get there, Michael, talk about budgeting to do something for them.
So I think we can talk about that, and I've got more on this, but I think we can talk about that in later July. That way we have plenty of time to budget, but also something in my report, but I can hold off, or I can say it now. But the July 15th thing where I told people to send me their budgets, we can have that, and we have some reserve there to make sure we cover whatever costs we might have for them.
Okay.
But I can talk more about that later.
Yeah, let's do that when we get, yeah.
Maybe this is for later, but do we think that SGA will, since they pulled our money back, like, do we think we'll be able to get anything from them around then, and then also for us in the spring?
So I think we're going to be fine. So we have how much in the Y account, Michael?
Let me pull it up real quick, and I can give me 1 second. I'll give it back to you.
No, you're okay. Regardless, starting in the fiscal year, June 30th, whatever it is, when it starts over, we'll have $30,100, which is way more than we've ever had in the past. And so that'll give us a nice cushion. Plus, we have what's in the Y account that I think we can still do something for the grads in grad week. And I don't think we run the risk of not being able to have grad week for ourselves. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that we can get some money from SGA. So whether we do, and we might have to get creative. So there are funds to host events on campus, so that maybe we can partner with the other law school organizations and just kind of get as much money in a pool from SGA as we can and use it for 3Ls that didn't graduate. But I think the professional schools can work with the provost office and get some money back for grad week. And that'll be a project that probably me, Justin, and Dimitri will work on when we all reconvene in August. Because Dimitri and Justin and I will have to do a lot with SGA starting probably in July. And so if things still look bad, we can work on that then.
So it looks like we have we have 23,584 in February's report, which nothing should really have changed unless we took some money out for the COVID stuff, which I don't think we did. So that should be.
Yeah, I think we're good on funds.
Yeah.
So that's roughly $53,000 worst case scenario. We're going to want to leave some money for the next year's council in that Y account, but we'll raise more money next year too. So,
and so go ahead, Caitlin. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, that's okay. But yeah, Kirby, we'll try to get as much money from SGA and U of L as possible. But I have a couple more things, and another one is a budget thing that I want to get to. But I did want to talk to you all about appointments. So I get to appoint someone to community engagement because nobody ran for community engagement. And a couple of people have reached out. There were 2 or 3 1Ls that reached out. And then one now 3L. And so I have thought about it, and I think that the person that I want to appoint is Britt McClure. I think that she'll do a great job as community engagement. She's obviously worked really hard the last year, especially with OPD, and trying to bring people in. I think she's going to do a great job. She's working hard right now with the cap and gown thing. But of course, I didn't want to do that without talking to you all first to make sure that you were on board with that. Last year, Connor had to make one appointment. It wasn't really like a big thing. The president by our constitution just gets to make it. But I don't really feel comfortable doing those kinds of things without talking to you all first. So any opinions?
I second it. I trust your judgment, so I think it's good.
Yep.
So thumbs up all around. Okay. So Britt is appointed. Next on my list is orientation. So at the last faculty meeting last week, or the week before last, the provost got on and talked about how they're pushing to open campus back up in the fall because U of L has like a several $1 million shortfall because of everything that's going on. A lot of incoming freshmen have deferred their acceptance for a year because they don't want to start their freshman year of college online. So they're losing a ton of money. They're obviously losing a lot of housing money. So they are doing everything that they can to push to open. Like, they've come up with these sanitizing like robot things that are supposed to sweep through. They're trying to come up with creative ways to like break classes up. So this includes the law school. Like, they're talking about us going back to law school and scheduling the classes around so that a professor will be teaching half the class in like 175 and the other half of the class is going to get like a live feed into 275 so that everyone is spread at least 6 feet apart in the room. I don't know logistically how that's going to work.
People are going to fight about that. It's going to be petty.
All I'm saying is I'm not super optimistic that it's going to happen. There's another faculty meeting on Tuesday. I'll let you all know if they say anything different. I don't think that we're going to be going back. So I think that we have to start making two plans. Okay. And one plan is a real, normal back to school bash orientation week. There's the new Dean Coel. Dimitri, have you met her or talked to her? Mm-hmm. So she, I think, hasn't officially started yet, but she has moved here. So I'm going to send her an email and copy you on it and Dean Sweeney, because in years past, it's been my understanding that Dean DeSanza was basically the queen of orientation, and she ran it from beginning to end with the assistance of SBA. So we really just did whatever we could to help her facilitate, and then planned back to school bash with whoever was, oh my gosh, why do I do this every time? Not the events chair.
Social.
Thank you. Social chair. Planning back to school bash. So I will copy you on an email to her and Dean Sweeney to see what we need to do, because we have to have an real life plan and then an emergency plan, because emergency virtual plan. And maybe that's just hosting virtual happy hours, however we decide they work best once we get done with 3L1. That's the best I can think of, unless you all have any other suggestions about a virtual one.
I agree, and then I'm gonna just talk to whoever. I know Connor did a lot, but you sound like you went through it all, so I'm just gonna talk to everybody and see what they think as well. But yeah, definitely agree. 2 plans.
So
yeah, I think the 2 plans is good. I also think it's gonna probably be a learning curve this year because Dean DeSanza is not here. But who was in charge of it because she wasn't here at the beginning of the.
She still was. So Dean DeSantis didn't actually leave until like our very first day of class this past fall. So she still coordinated most of it. Like I came as part of my SBA duties and volunteered to stuff like the lanyards with everyone's names in it. And Dean DeSantis was still here, like running orientation. So let's talk with Drew and Connor too, Dimitri, because I think Amani was still in Richmond during orientation. And so she normally would have done orientation, but I think Drew and Connor did a lot of orientation.
That's what she told me.
I think it's going to be virtual.
If it is virtual and we can't obviously do back to school bash at the tavern or wherever we end up wanting to have it, if it were in real life, would we want to like use that money somehow to like, I don't know, do some kind of like gift to the one else, like small thing, like, I don't know, something that's fun.
We can talk about doing something like that, or like maybe like getting more merch to have for them. Mm-hmm. But I think that will be where we start like pushing money around and then maybe end up using it later for grad week or supplements, like class supplements.
Like, for example, if we're not back in person in August, maybe you have to start classes like online, they're probably going to feel like really nervous about that. So like if we did have extra money left over, maybe we could send them some nutshells for the basic 1L classes or some E&E Q&A, stuff like that.
Well, we could have our own version too of the first year leaders where they had the SSG groups. We could have SBA, maybe a couple of students who do really, really well, make sure that they're available for, like, I guess some of us, but also other students who are really, not necessarily SSG leaders, but people who can like one-on-one video chat or whatever, meet on one-on-one basis to calm the nerves of some of these 1Ls that are coming in and give advice. I think SBA could provide that, and that wouldn't be a hard thing to do, and also wouldn't be expensive, but also look really good. And then that was a really good point. And another thing too, Kirby, kind of what you were talking about, I think another thing we can focus on, we got two different paths, one virtual and one real. It was about $3,000 last year I think we spent on the back to school bash. And so if it comes up that doesn't happen, I think we could maybe not use that much money, but we could send like a little shirt or something to each individual, something like this. And just that would be really cool for the 1Ls to have. I know that they want that. So, and I think that's something we can do regardless. I don't know about the money side of it, but just something else to put, I guess, in our heads.
I mean, if we had the supplies, it would be as simple as like whoever, like, I don't know if you did it with me, Michael. We went and packed, maybe it was Joe. We went and packed folders, and you said, Kaylin, you did lanyards, like just like doing like a little, like putting in a note from us, like saying like, we know these are like, this is weird, but you know, here's something. I don't know. Obviously a lot more skilled than that, but
my biggest fear is that we are not going to know that it's virtual until the very last minute. So like they're not going to make a decision about how we're going to return to classes until way later. And I think that's going to be for two reasons. I think they're not going to want to tell 1Ls that we're not going to come back because they don't want anybody to not
come because of that.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think it's just going to make planning super difficult.
Okay,
I just have an idea. This is really in the weeds of it. Like, it really doesn't matter this much at this point. But I remember we had these, like maybe we could get cups printed, like the little plastic ones that are cheap. And if we don't use them for this, maybe we could just sell them for, like, 50 cents or $1 at tailgates and just have them.
That's a really good idea.
Like, because we had them for our Greek week in undergrad, and they were, like, really fun. And I'm sure they were really cheap. They're just, like, the little plastic ones you get at every kind of event.
Right.
But it'd be good for a happy hour, too, if we end up having to do that. So,
yeah. And I think, Kaylin, moving forward on the two-way thing, focus on like the people or the cups or something that you know will probably go ahead and do regardless of whatever avenue they take. Fits in on those. Make sure that those are set in stone. The students who might be mentoring, and then the other stuff you can be pretty fluid on. Just have an idea of, hey, this is what we're going to do if that happens. I think that'll set you up for success because that gives you two avenues, but also it gives you, if one fails and the other one's going to go down, you have stuff already set in place. So I think that's something you can focus on. Just focus on the things that it doesn't matter if we're in person or orientation or online, like the student mentors or the cups or shirts or whatever. And then when we figure out which one we're going to do, then we can really hound in on the other stuff, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that makes sense.
I think we can get the social to go ahead and prepare. Surely to goodness, these places will understand, hey, we don't know if we're going to be back in school or not. We don't know what the deal is. So
right.
Surely they'll give us some leniency there, but you can go ahead and have the social preparing one side, and then you can probably be working on something else or have someone else working on the other side, and then you're good to go regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, Dimitri, it's going to be really important to work closely with Nathaniel because I know Meredith gave him her basically like entire social binder. But he's probably going to need to start working on that now for orientation.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll hit him up and we'll get on that. I'll just tell him everything that we talked about here.
Yeah.
And Dimitri and Kaylin, if you don't mind, if you all start talking about money or budgetary stuff, loop me in on that so I'm tracking. Because we've got plenty of money in our Y account, but also I want to make sure we're using the funds like we need to. I know we ran into that last year with fundraising stuff, so just loop me in. It's not a big deal. I probably won't even talk. That way I'm aware.
Right. Which brings me to my next point after orientation. Connor just sent me all of the emails about the $4,000 and some change that we need to get back from SGA. I don't think we're going to have any problem getting it back, Michael. So I'm just going to go ahead and send emails to Jasper, who's the outgoing SGA president, and Sabrina, who's the incoming SGA president, and copy you and copy John Paul Moody, and basically just say, we told you not to take this money. You took this much money. We need you to give us this money back because you overdrew our account. So I'll send those to them. That way they can reconcile our account, but I don't think we're going to have any problem getting that money put back to make us good.
Okay.
So we can break even. Because right now, our law school SBA account is technically overdrawn in the red, but that's just because of what they did. Now, we have enough money in the Y account to make up for it, but we shouldn't have to because that's not our problem.
Right.
So I'll copy you on that so that you know what's going on. And then after that, Honora, we need to talk to John Paul about the ABA conference.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. I know it's in Chicago, so in my experience with having the law school send me anywhere that requires money has not been great. So I definitely think that we should talk to him sooner rather than later. But it's probably not going to be that expensive of a trip because they're probably going to have us drive because of the short distance. So,
well, I think technically we could probably fly there, but I would rather drive, honestly, with everything going on.
Right. Yeah.
And then just have them reimburse us. But I don't think that we can actually book anything, and John Paul can confirm this, until the next fiscal year. So we probably can't do anything until like July 1 or later. So we'll have to get on that with him. But I just wanted to put that on your radar. And after that, the only other update I have, it doesn't really matter for us, but just in case anyone's asking you all about it, the Kentucky bar exam still planning on happening. They haven't changed their minds on that. Really? They are looking at using all three of the law schools to have the bar exam in the law schools. And so people from the Office of the Bar Examiners have been coming to the law schools, touring them, mapping out how they would put people in a room because they don't want more than 10 people in every room, including the proctor. And really, they're just trying to find the most secure way to do that, because obviously they have them at the same places every year because they only have a certain number of entrances and exits, and they're trying to maintain the integrity of the exam. So anyway, there's really not a huge update there other than I think they're just looking at the law schools. But they're still planning on having it as of right now.
Oh. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I mean, I know some people are happy about it. Some people are frustrated about it. I don't think that, there's no way to make everybody happy right now. And obviously we have nothing to do with that. Now that the Kentucky Supreme Court has made their decision that they are keeping it and moving like full steam ahead, there's nothing that any of the deans or the SBA presidents can do. I mean, they're doing what they're going to do. So that's really it for me. So we can move down. I guess, Dimitri, do you have anything?
No, ma'am. You did it with the orientation stuff, so.
Okay. Kirby?
Nope. I haven't really talked to Drew a ton. I reached out to him before the last meeting because I know you wanted us to do like transition before that.
Yeah.
So should I just kind of like heckle him more to send me stuff?
Yeah, heckle Drew all you want. Anything I think that you need. Everyone should be pretty okay talking to folks. I mean, I know Connor is like, he'll just call me, and then if I have anything, I just call him. So I mean, Drew should be the same way. I know that his job.
Drew's cool. Like I've definitely we've had class together, and I know he's really cool about this. He's probably honestly studying / worried about other things at this point.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll just reach back out to him.
Okay, Michael.
All right, so I've got a few things, and I'm hoping after August. You all won't hear from me as much. It's just a matter of getting all this stuff organized and kind of together. So I have the budgets from last year, and I can give those reports, but it sounds like we've kind of already gone over it a little bit. We've got plenty of money, I think about $23,000 in the Y account, and then our SGA account. Figuring we'll have about 30, I think, starting out next year. Of course, we've got some stuff there to worry about and take care of, but we'll get it taken care of. For December, the grad week, I would bet, now, this isn't obviously guaranteed, and Kayla and Dimitri, you all might have to do some work on this, but I would bet the SGA, given the circumstances and us doing another graduation week, would probably appropriate some more money for us for that. And so that might help us in our argument to get more money, which we want to from them, but that might supplement us a little bit there and help us along and make that process a little bit easier to convince them, like, hey, we have to do another graduation this year. And then after we get that money, we're like, hey, we use this money well. Let us keep getting this money. It's our money anyway. So that might be a way to an angle anyway. There is one thing, amendments to the Constitution. So, Caitlin, I know we've talked a little bit about this. I know that we're kind of weary to change the Constitution up too much. But I talked to Matt Bunnell a little bit on the phone, and there was one thing me and him discussed about adding in maybe an amendment to the finance officer, or I guess another, not even an amendment, but just another line or clause or whatever you want to say. But it's going to talk about how the finance officer at the first meeting presents the budget, which is already in there. But then if an officer, so one of the SBA officers, whatever fundraising, whatever it might be, needs more money, then at the meeting they have to present what they want the money for, and then we vote on it. And that's how they get more money. And so I think that's the process we kind of do anyway, but it's a little bit more formal, and it puts in our Constitution. And I can discuss that a little bit more offline with you, Kaylin, or anybody else who wants to. Obviously, if I wanted to do that, I'll work on that a little bit more, make the language better and more clear, obviously. But we can talk about that.
I think that's a great idea, and here's why. It's because I feel like in the last couple of years, it's basically just been exec spends money, but nobody really knows how they're spending it and why they're spending it. And then it's like later we get invoices, or John Paul tells us that $11,000 is being taken out of our account with no real explanation. So I think presenting budgets at the meeting and having everyone vote on it is a good idea. And I mean, obviously we have, in order to approve the amendment, everyone in SBA has to vote on it to amend our Constitution, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I think that's something we can put, I think that just, like you just said, the accountability aspect, I think it really increases it. And then the reminder, so July 15th, I put out at our last meeting, I would like to hear from the officers regarding how much money they think they'll want for the next year. I've got an idea in the budget. I've got an idea of what everybody should be wanting or spending money on. However, I also know that some people probably didn't use money. They could have used money in different things. So I would like to hear something from them. If one of you all could send out a reminder, that way they aren't hearing from me. That way in July gets here, I can bug them a little bit more. That would be nice if one of you guys could send out a reminder for July 15th. just send me an idea of what they're going to want for the year, or even the semester if they want to get more. I know social will probably be really detailed, but hopefully he'll have an idea then.
So actually, Michael, would you mind to send that email out? And just because I think you need to be a little more specific with everyone, because some people, there are some people that use money, that position uses money every year. So fundraising, and social use money every single year. I'm not sure how much Jordan has talked with Joe about what Joe spent last year and how that process worked. So I'm not sure that she knows exactly how much to anticipate using.
Yeah. I'll
so I think your email should be something to the effect of like, I know that I asked you all for proposals. I just wanted to give you a little more information. So fundraising chair, talk with the previous fundraising chair and outline some ideas for merch that you'd like to do and about how many. For social chair, like an outline budget of those events. But then for everybody else, like diversity chair automatically gets $1,000 to spend. That is the minimum, not the maximum, to co-host events. But also, 2L and 3L reps can, propose events to host too. So I don't think that they know that, though. I don't think that any 2L or 3L reps have ever done that, but they can do that too. So that's why I think maybe outlining just some bullet points, like these are the things that you are allowed to propose. We're just trying to get an idea of events that people would like to see happen this year. Just because you submit a proposal doesn't mean that your event is going to occur.
Yeah.
But just to have an idea for like a working budget, basically.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'll do that individually then. That won't be a big deal. And then I put funding for orientation, but we've already talked about that. So I think that's all I've got. Again, hopefully I'll probably be busy over the summer kind of getting stuff together, but hopefully after August, it's going to be pretty simple. So if everything goes to plan. So
yeah,
we will see.
Okay. Honora?
Nothing for me.
Okay. I remembered one last thing. That's diversity chair. So diversity chair is an appointed chair in SBA. Melvie, I talked to already. I don't know if you all saw, but Melvie's expecting. So she said that her baby is due in September, so she's not interested in doing anything next year. I totally get that. That chair in the past has been an appointment made by me, Robin from the library, and now Dean Coel. So what we'll do is basically I'll send out what they did before. It was like you write a statement about why you would like to be diversity chair, what you would do with that position. That's limited to 250 to 500 words. And then Robin, Dean Coel, and myself will sit down and review all of those and then pick a couple candidates, interview them, probably virtually. And then the three of us will pick someone from that pool of individuals. So I will start posting about that probably in the next couple of weeks. That way we have a diversity chair before we come back to school, and that person can go ahead and start planning events. Robin and I have already started talking about it, but because Dean Coel does not actually start yet, we can't actually start that process. But I want to get started as soon as she takes her position, because I think it's important to give the diversity chair as much time to do as much as they can as quickly as possible. So we lost Nora, but that's okay. All right, well, that's it for me. Things are going to probably largely be over email from now on, unless you all have a strong preference to have more Zoom meetings. It doesn't matter to me. I like seeing all of you also. I guess we can just do it on a week-by-week basis. If we need to touch base over Zoom, we can do that.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone have a good weekend.
Y'all too.
Bye, friends. See ya.
Bye.
I don't know how to get out of here.
I know I don't either.
Oh, leave meeting. Never mind. Have a good one.
Bye.